In 2023, I spent 2 months in the Philippines, October and November. I flew back to the US right before Thanksgiving. The video you're about to watch, I recorded that after my first month in the Philippines in late October 2023. In that video, I mostly talked about making a final decision about where I wanted to live when I retired in the Philippines eventually. By the way, that video was not a commercial about Ayala Land. I just used their properties as an example. So no payment from Ayala Land was made in the making of that video. I wish, right? Anyway, I went back 2 more times to the Philippines in 2024. Shorter trips, of course. And now being back in the US, almost a year since my last trip back to the Philippines, here's what I've learned since then. Here's what changed. I've been in the Philippines for a month now. I was here earlier this year in August with one of my daughters for a quick 10-day visit. But this time around, it's just me. I came here to spend time with my dad. He had a stroke early September. He's recovering well at home now. Thank you to everyone who has reached out asking about him. This trip was also a chance for me to really know what it's like to live here, not as a tourist, but as an actual resident. So you're in my real Philippines right now. This is the longest time I've actually spent in the Philippines since I was 10 years old when I went back from the US to go to school here for a year. And after living in the US for over 50 years, could I really live again in the Philippines, even if just for a few months to 6 months out of the year? So in this video, I'll talk about decisions I've made so far in terms of retiring here in the future, what I love about the Philippines, and what I miss about the US. So when I came here in August, my main goal was to decide on a location for my retirement home. At the time, I was dead set on finding a house. After all, I lived in a house for many years in the US, and I told myself I didn't want to go back to condo or apartment living, right? So representatives from Ayala Land took me on a tour of one of their newer residential developments. It's called Nuvali, about an hour north of Metro Manila. Beautiful homes, guard-gated of course, clubhouse, swimming pools, wide open spaces, high-end shopping, grocery stores nearby. Then it hit me. As we were driving through the neighborhoods, I thought to myself, oh my God, this is exactly what my life is like in the States. I'm alone in my house. I don't really know my neighbors. I'm far from family and friends. I have to drive to get to anywhere. Why am I going to duplicate my American life here? Am I not moving to the Philippines to change that? So I asked Ayala to show me some high-rise units. We went to see a showroom, or what we call model home, in Makati, 20 to 30 minutes from my hometown. Guess what? I absolutely loved it. It was modern. I can picture myself here, take the elevator to the gym, swimming pool, go down to the street level to restaurants, coffee shops, and shopping, all walking distance. I didn't have to drive. I can picture myself meeting with friends once I start making them, since it's a more central location and more fun things to do. And isn't that ultimately my goal? It was my goal to keep myself physically and mentally active as I get older. Stop isolating myself, stop putting myself at risk of the toll it takes on our health and mental well-being. I also pinpointed a location. It wasn't in Makati, but yes, in BGC, Bonifacio Global City. But not in the center, but more in the outskirts of BGC, like uptown. I still like quiet, and I don't like that much activity. Hey, listen, my decisions are just that, mine. You might like that big house for your family. You might hate high-rise living. My purpose was to show you my thought process and my decision-making. It might take a few trips to make your decisions. It might take longer than 2 weeks or even 2 months like me to see if the Philippines is truly the place for you. But what I'm just suggesting is keep an open mind. Absorb your surroundings. Picture your lifestyle. Picture your day-to-day. That's how I advise my own clients when they don't know which area or what neighborhood they want to live in. I ask them, well, what do you see yourself doing every day? Do you want to just sit in your quiet house, watch TV, read? play golf. That's great. Or do you want activities, dining out with friends, nightlife, low maintenance home that's easy to leave when you travel? That's great too. In this latter year of our lives, many of us are lucky that it's about want now and not so much need like it was when we were younger, starting careers, raising families. And that brings me to my family back in the US. They are what I miss the most. They're what I would miss the most about the US. From the emails and messages I've received from many of you, this is also a common dilemma and struggle. You know, many of us are fairly new grandparents. I am. Yay. Congratulations to all of us. I mean, we're asked by our own children and other family members, like, how can you leave and miss out on the most important and formative years of your grandchildren's lives? Well, the guilt trip is real, you guys. No, it's not easy at all. But as a friend recently told me, we are not our grandchildren's parents. Our children, who we raised, are the parents now. And I couldn't agree with him more. Filipino grandparents in the Philippines are very involved in their grandchildren's lives for sure. But the majority of them live close by, if not in the same house altogether. So I don't think my American-born children would like that at all. Yes, there are going to be things I will miss. But I'm grateful at least for technology like video chatting that allows me to see my grandson almost every day. No, of course it's not the same as being there. And that's also why I made the decision not to live full-time in the Philippines just yet. Not even in 3 to 5 years when I plan to retire from my career in the US. It still sounds so selfish. Sometimes I still feel so selfish about it, doesn't it? But I'm going to go ahead and tell you it's not. I'm going to take my own advice that I tell my older clients who contemplate the same move just within the US from state to state. I tell them, before you think about moving across the country just to be with closer to adult children or grandchildren, please consider this. Our children are still young. They could change jobs and move. Then you're stuck in a new state, new neighborhood. You sold your house or rented it out. Buying back in will be more expensive. You left your friends, you left all that's familiar to you. I didn't make up this scenario, okay? My older clients tell me this has happened to them or their friends. You know, it happened to my own parents. They left California after 50 years and moved to Nevada to be closer to me and my sister. It was nice, but my sister and I still had full-time careers. We usually only saw them on Sundays unless there was an emergency. It was just the American's lifestyle we've always had. My parents left their friends of decades, social activities, familiar routes to grocery stores and restaurants that they could drive to blindfolded. You know, to this day, I regret moving them. I'm very fortunate that my daughters support my decision to live in the Philippines, as long as I don't live here all year. You know, I love the Philippines. I love everything that you all love about it. The people, the culture, the food. You guys have to tell me, I'm getting chubby here. And the more time I spend here, the more I feel like I belong. So when I go back to the US in a few weeks, I will enjoy even more my time with my family, my daughters, my son-in-law and future son-in-law, and of course, and especially my grandson. I'm also kind of looking forward to getting back in the hustle of my work, believe it or not. And that kind of surprised me too. I do enjoy the slower pace of life here in the Philippines that everybody seems to like, but I kind of miss the rat race, believe it or not. My brain still wants that rush, I guess. I know my wallet does too. So I guess another big lesson I learned from my time here is to take time for myself, to indulge in my dreams, to keep setting new goals. That's how we keep learning. That's how we stay active up here. It's not selfish to do so. We have earned this life, but it's also our responsibility to live it fully, to give back, especially now. Thanks for watching. Good luck to all of us.
First of all, family back in the U.S. Leaving family back in the U.S. for extended periods of time was my biggest issue. I think it's the biggest issue for a lot of us. It's the heaviest weight on my heart. My daughters, my grandson, more future grandchildren. I didn't want to be missing out on their lives. But almost 2 years later, my life activities may be slowing down, but theirs is going even faster. Work, careers, their own social circles, mixing with other younger families, play dates, birthday parties. They're not going to slow down for me, for you, for us older folks. We don't expect them to, but their lives are full without you. And that's a very good thing. But it did teach me that I'm not as important in their lives as I thought I would be. I know we're still important in our children's lives, but we're no longer as integral, as needed. There, I said it. And that's okay. After all, isn't the goal of raising our children to raise them to be independent and self-sufficient, to raise them the American way? So even though I would still miss my children very much, my grandchildren, I had to think, I can count the number of times they call nowadays. Not as frequent, right? Disagreements, misunderstandings, those tend to be more frequent than the calls, actually. Story for another day, and certainly not for you two. Second and final decision about solo travel. These past 2.5 years, I traveled 5 times to the Philippines. I traveled solo. I still had family there. I made some great friends that I have to this day, but for the most part, I was a solo traveler. I didn't venture far out, really, but I shopped solo. I dined out solo. I went sightseeing solo. I was used to being solo, doing those things in the U.S., so I was okay solo in the Philippines too, but just a few instances where I felt uncomfortable. For the most part, no big deal. I spoke the language, I knew the culture, but to be honest, towards the end, it got to me. Unlike the U.S., the Philippines really isn't a solo type of country. Everyone has a family members who live nearby, who live in the same house. Everyone has friends or a friend, a boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband. Filipinos are very sociable people. I'm not saying there's not solo people in the Philippines or there's no lonely people in the Philippines. Of course there is. But when I did hang out with those friends that I made there, new friends I made in my Balikbayan Facebook group, even some friends I made through my YouTube channel, it was harder to be solo after that once you made genuine connections. At least harder to be solo all the time like I used to be. And of course, there's my man. I purposely didn't go to beach resorts. Everyone kept asking me, did you go to Boracay? Did you go to Palawan? No, I didn't. I didn't because when I do go, I wanted to go with someone special. I wanted to go that someone I could share it with. I've been to beaches. I lived in Southern California for 15 years. I know what a beautiful beach looks like. I'd like to see a beautiful beach with my person. Or with my golden girls. Some of us are already planning our own little private commune on the beach. Tiny houses for ladies only. My point really is, I decided I didn't want to be solo any longer. Loneliness is a killer, literally. Hey, I understand being solo and being at peace. I do. But for me, I got this one more relationship in me, and it's been nice. We'll see. I'm a lot of smoke sometimes. I'm a Filipina after all. Lastly, third decision, the location. In that video I made in 2023, I was deciding between a house in the new suburbs or a high-rise in BGC. It took a couple trips to figure it out, and I figured it out in that video, or so I thought. Almost 2 years later, final decision? Final decision is to renovate and update our old ancestral home in my little hometown. The balcony that I'm standing on in that video, that's the house. That's the house where my parents brought me home to after I was born in the hospital in Manila. The home in the family compound where my lola, my titos and titas, countless cousins made so many memories. It's not going to be easy living there. It's noisy, it's dusty and smoky from the lechon, my family business still run by my cousins. It's stinky, it's drama, but it's home, it's family, and it's me.